telling you right now, a lot of people don't want to get it. There's enough of you to do something, anything. And there's so many of you able to get loud.
So he said, man, that's tax evasion. You can go to prison. And I said,
what if everything you thought you knew about your favorite celebrities was a carefully constructed illusion, hiding a world so dark and twisted it would make even the most scandalous Hollywood stories look tame? The latest revelations from Ashton Kutcher, a whistleblower who claims to have been at the center of the entertainment industry's most chilling secrets, are blowing the lid off a web of unimaginable horrors. Her accusations aren't just about one man, though Diddy Combs is undeniably at the center of it all. No, these claims stretch far beyond him, implicating some of Hollywood's biggest stars, and the details are nothing short of shocking.
Doesn't the government want him to turn himself in? Because then they can't ask for detention. So they go and they arrest him. They arrest a guy who came to New York to turn himself in.
Ashton Kutcher's testimony paints a grim picture of what allegedly went on behind the scenes at Diddy's so-called exclusive gatherings. These weren't mere parties, she claims, but orchestrated events that served as a gateway to something far more sinister. According to Kutcher, these gatherings involved ritualistic acts and secret practices that would make even the most hardened skeptic shudder. She alleges that these gatherings had attendees who were some of the most powerful people in entertainment, politics, and business, names that we all recognize, but never expected to see tied to accusations like this.
But if there is one, can you read between the lines? There's a call from the prisons. Someone thinks that they have a green light on us that they don't even know what they're talking about.
Among the names Kutcher has called out in recent weeks are none other than Steve Harvey, Ashton Kutcher, and Demi Moore. Yes, these are household names, people we've laughed with, admired, and even idolized. But Kutcher's claims suggest there's a much darker side to these stars that the public has never seen. For starters, let's talk about Steve Harvey. While many know him as the charismatic host of Family Feud and a motivational speaker, Kutcher's allegations put him in a very different light. She claims that Harvey was not only aware of what went on during these events, but allegedly played a role in covering up their existence. This has reinvigorated earlier rumors that he's been complicit in questionable dealings for years. Remember the controversy surrounding his daughter, Lori Harvey, and her rumored involvement with Diddy? People online have speculated that Harvey may have facilitated that connection, raising uncomfortable questions about his motives.
We have always said it is about the children. It's not just about me. Never just made it about me. I'm just the loudest one.
It's not just speculation, though. Social media was set ablaze when Harvey deleted a tweet after Diddy's arrest that seemed to support him. The tweet read something along the lines of, "My brother Diddy is doing a world of good for these kids." The timing and phrasing of it immediately raised eyebrows, with many asking, what kids? What's he talking about? This wasn't just a slip of the tongue. It came across as a cryptic nod to something bigger. The backlash was swift, and Harvey's silence on the matter has only made things worse. Why delete the tweet if there's nothing to hide? And why hasn't he come forward to address the accusations? His usual charm and confidence seem to have vanished, leaving fans wondering if there's more to his connection with Diddy than meets the eye.
it's like haters. When you get haters, you know, people's opinion of you is none of your business. I have lots of haters.
But it doesn't stop with Steve Harvey. Ashton Kutcher also dropped bombshells about Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore. Now, these two have long been regarded as Hollywood royalty, with Kutcher known for his activism, and Moore for her trailblazing career. Yet Kutcher's claims suggest that their reputation as philanthropists and do-gooders might be a smokescreen. She alleges that they were frequent attendees at the same gatherings Diddy hosted, events where questionable activities were allegedly commonplace. What's even more disturbing is that their names have come up in connection with broader rumors about secret Hollywood circles, groups rumored to operate under the radar, protected by their wealth and influence.
I don't give them no energy. I give haters no energy. Steve ain't this, he think he this. You don't even know me.
Kutcher, in particular, has been a vocal advocate for social issues, including fighting exploitation. However, Kutcher's accusations have led some to question whether his public persona is a calculated front. Could it be that his activism is a way to deflect suspicion? The irony here is almost too much to handle. Demi Moore, on the other hand, has faced whispers for years about her connections to elite gatherings where questionable practices allegedly took place. Kutcher's claims only add fuel to the fire, suggesting that Moore's involvement isn't just passive, but active. She's accused of being a central figure at these events, someone who not only attended, but allegedly endorsed what happened there.
So I just keep going through. But then I'll tell you something too, haters motivate me. Because when they talking about me, that means I'm doing something.
Kutcher's descriptions of these gatherings are harrowing. She's spoken of elaborate setups designed to create an atmosphere of exclusivity and secrecy. Invitations were reportedly extended only to those deemed worthy, with strict non-disclosure agreements in place to ensure silence. The venues were said to be lavish, decked out with the kind of opulence you'd expect from Hollywood's elite. But behind the glitz and glamour, Carter claims, was a much darker reality. She alleges that these events were designed to break boundaries, to push the limits of what attendees were willing to do or accept. And for those who refused to participate or dared to speak out, Carter says the consequences were swift and brutal. Careers destroyed, reputations smeared, and in some cases, lives ruined.
And I remember, I don't know if you know what his voice sounds like, but I felt like I was in the presence of his monster inside.
What's particularly chilling is Carter's assertion that these gatherings weren't just about indulgence or excess. They were about power. She alleges that the acts performed at these events were often recorded, creating a treasure trove of compromising material that could be used as leverage. According to her, this was a key part of how Diddy maintained his influence. By allegedly recording attendees in vulnerable situations, he ensured their silence and loyalty. This isn't just a theory, either. Court documents tied to the federal investigation into Diddy have referenced hidden cameras and recordings, lending credence to Carter's claims.
Do you believe Diddy is a dangerous person?
Yes. I do.
The implications here are staggering. If what Carter says is true, it means that some of the most powerful people in Hollywood and beyond may be compromised. It raises questions about how deep this web of influence goes and whether it's even possible to untangle it. After all, if Diddy allegedly used these gatherings to control people, who's to say others didn't do the same? Carter's testimony is a stark reminder that the entertainment industry's glitzy facade often hides a much darker reality.
And in this lawsuit, he claims that essentially P. Diddy was the Epstein of the rap industry.
And then there's the matter of the rituals. Carter has described these gatherings as more than just parties. They were allegedly ceremonies, complete with symbolic acts that had deeper meanings. While she hasn't gone into explicit detail, she's hinted that these rituals were designed to create a sense of unity among attendees, binding them together in secrecy. This aligns with broader conspiracy theories about Hollywood's elite, which have long suggested the existence of secret societies operating within the industry. Whether or not you believe those theories, Carter's claims add a new layer of intrigue to the conversation.
Are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors, yeah. I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than that.
One of the most unsettling aspects of Carter's testimony is her insistence that these gatherings often involved individuals who were coerced or manipulated into attending. She's spoken about how some attendees were lured in with promises of career advancement or financial gain, only to find themselves trapped in situations they couldn't escape. This raises serious questions about consent and agency, particularly when you consider the power dynamics at play. If someone like Diddy or another high-profile figure invites you to an event, can you really say no? The pressure to comply, to go along with whatever's happening, must be immense.
Of course. There's layers upon layers. When you get into these conspiracy theories, man, they never end. They never end. There's just layers upon layers upon layers.
Carter's allegations have sparked a firestorm online, with many people demanding answers from the celebrities she's named. Social media has been flooded with questions like, why hasn't Steve Harvey spoken out? And what does Ashton Kutcher have to say about this? The silence from these figures is deafening, and it only adds to the sense of suspicion. If they have nothing to hide, why not address the claims head-on? Instead, we're left with a void, a lack of accountability that feels all too familiar in cases like this. What's clear is that Carter's testimony has struck a nerve. Whether you believe her or not, her story has forced people to take a closer look at the entertainment industry and the systems that enable abuse and exploitation. It's a reminder that fame and wealth don't make someone invincible, and that even the most powerful can be held accountable if enough people are willing to stand up and demand justice.
We all saw it posted yesterday all over our social media pages. Cassie filed a lawsuit in New York City against Diddy.
Yikes.
She's claiming she was stuck in a decade-long cycle of abuse.
As we move into the next chapter of this unfolding saga, the question remains, will these allegations lead to real change, or will they be swept under the rug like so many scandals before them? One thing's for sure, Allison Carter isn't backing down. She's made it clear that she's in this fight for the long haul, and she's calling on others to join her. Whether they will remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. The world is watching, and as more names come to light, the pressure on Hollywood's elite will only continue to grow. What will it take for the truth to finally come out? And when it does, who will be left standing?
That he controlled every aspect of her life. He is accused of frequently beating her and would hide her in hotel rooms for days until the bruising and signs of abuse were gone.
The deeper you dig into this story, the more it feels like unraveling a never-ending spool of thread, with every twist revealing another shocking layer of corruption, betrayal, and manipulation. How did someone like Diddy Combs, one of the most celebrated figures in the music industry, manage to maintain his untouchable status for so long? And how many people helped him hide these alleged atrocities? It's not just about the accusations anymore. It's about the bigger picture. How did this system of silence and protection thrive in plain sight for decades? Let's dive into what some are calling one of the most sinister and well-protected scandals in modern entertainment history. To understand how Diddy managed to shield himself from scrutiny for so long, you first have to take a look at the sheer scope of his influence. Diddy wasn't just a musician or a record label owner. He was a brand, a mogul whose empire extended far beyond music. From fashion to television, spirits, and even political activism, Diddy's name carried weight. His connections reached the highest levels of the entertainment industry and beyond. This wasn't just a man throwing parties. This was someone deeply embedded in the fabric of Hollywood and corporate America. And with that kind of power comes the ability to keep secrets.
Replete with very, very serious and salacious allegations, including allegations that Combs had cameras throughout his homes.
Let's talk about the allegations of hidden recordings. According to multiple sources, including court documents and whistleblower testimony, Diddy allegedly had hidden cameras installed in his homes and private venues. These weren't just for security purposes, but were reportedly used to record attendees at his gatherings without their consent. Think about what that means. If these claims are true, Diddy essentially had leverage on some of the most powerful and recognizable figures in the world. Imagine walking into a party thinking you're among friends, only to discover that everything you did was being filmed, potentially to be used against you later. The implications are chilling. Whistleblower Rodney Jones, a former associate of Diddy, stated in his legal filings that Diddy kept a collection of these recordings in a secured vault, which allegedly included footage of well-known celebrities in compromising situations. He even claimed that some of these recordings were used to blackmail individuals into silence or compliance.
The issue is, it seems as though he wants to kind of like exert power and dominance over people who don't really want it.
This strategy wasn't just about protecting himself. It was about control. By allegedly holding this kind of material, Diddy could ensure loyalty and obedience from those around him. It's the kind of tactic that doesn't just shield you from consequences. It solidifies your power. And if you think this sounds like something straight out of a crime thriller, you're not alone. People have compared this to the infamous Jeffrey Epstein case, where compromising material was allegedly used to maintain influence over the rich and powerful. The parallels are hard to ignore.
Now you got the Diddy situation where he jumps on a private jet, they say yesterday, and is on his way to the Cape Verde Islands.
But it's not just the recordings that raise questions about how Diddy managed to stay above the law. There's also the issue of institutional complicity. Allison Carter's claims about Child Protective Services being involved in a supply chain have sparked outrage and disbelief. Could an organization designed to protect the vulnerable have been complicit in something so horrifying? Carter's allegations suggest that this wasn't just about one man's actions, but a network of enablers who allowed it to continue. It's a heavy accusation, but it's not without precedent. History is full of examples where powerful figures were able to operate with impunity because the institutions meant to hold them accountable either looked the other way or were actively involved.
Either way, if you got to run to a private island because your evil doings are doing so much and they storming your house, it's one of these.
And shockingly, there are whispers that this network didn't stop at government agencies. Some speculate that even high-profile charities and advocacy organizations may have been used as shields to maintain appearances. Carter hinted in one of her viral videos that certain well-known foundations, which publicly advocate for justice and equality, might have turned a blind eye to Diddy's alleged actions in exchange for financial contributions or partnerships. These organizations, she claims, benefited from Diddy's celebrity endorsement while conveniently ignoring the growing rumors about his behavior. If true, this would paint a damning picture of how deeply the alleged complicity ran, extending beyond corporate boardrooms and into spaces we typically associate with doing good.
That this is the end of the Diddy story as we know it.
Adding fuel to this theory are reports that several prominent individuals connected to Diddy's charitable ventures have gone silent in the wake of these allegations. For example, insiders have pointed out how certain celebrity ambassadors for one of his past campaigns, a highly publicized event aimed at empowering marginalized communities, have quietly distanced themselves without making public statements. While it's impossible to confirm their motivations, the timing has raised eyebrows. Were they aware of something deeper, or are they simply trying to avoid being dragged into the controversy? Either way, their silence only adds to the growing cloud of suspicion surrounding Diddy's philanthropic efforts.
I've had clients describe MDC as hell, as the worst conditions they...
Even more perplexing is the role of media outlets in this entire saga. In the past, major publications often celebrated Diddy's lavish lifestyle and career achievements while barely scratching the surface of the controversy surrounding him. Some are now questioning whether these outlets were complicit in shaping a narrative that protected him. Did lucrative advertising deals or exclusive access to his brand and events influence how stories about him were covered? Or, more importantly, not covered? Carter herself has accused members of the press of purposely overlooking evidence presented to them in the past, claiming that certain reporters were too afraid to publish the truth. If that's the case, it's not just Diddy under the spotlight, but an entire media machine that may have enabled his rise while burying his alleged wrongdoings.
The government is going to mandate that they are responsible for your well-being. They have to ensure the safety of your well-being.
Even more troubling is the idea that law enforcement may have played a role in protecting Diddy. There's been speculation that some of the investigations into his activities were deliberately stalled or buried. Why? Could it be that Diddy's connections extended into the very agencies tasked with investigating him? Or perhaps the sheer volume of evidence and witnesses willing to speak out simply wasn't enough to overcome the influence he wielded? Either way, the result was the same: years of alleged misconduct without consequences.
So what is next? Is he going to be in jail in this facility until the trial begins? Is there a chance he could, get moved earlier than that?
As of this moment, as of this hour, as of today, yes. But of course, as I mentioned earlier, they're going to be appealing this thing next to the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals to overturn the judge's order here to try and get him actually released to his mansion.
And then there's the role of corporate America. Diddy's business ventures weren't just successful. They were massively profitable for the companies he partnered with. From his clothing line to his television projects and beyond, Diddy was a cash cow. It's not hard to imagine why some of these corporations might have been hesitant to cut ties with him, even as whispers of misconduct began to surface. After all, money talks, and when someone is making you millions, you're less likely to ask questions about how they're doing it. It's a grim reminder of how often morality takes a back seat to profit in the entertainment industry.
And Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a criminal enterprise.
What's fascinating and deeply disturbing is how these layers of protection allowed Diddy to maintain his public image as a philanthropist and role model. He was the guy who threw extravagant parties, yes, but he was also the guy who donated to charities, spoke out on social issues, and mentored young artists. It's a carefully crafted persona, one that made it hard for people to believe the worst about him. But as more allegations come to light, that facade is starting to crack. People are beginning to question how much of Diddy's public image was genuine, and how much of it was a calculated effort to deflect attention from the darker aspects of his life.
A lot of the evidence, alleged evidence, that's been gathered in this case was from those two raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these performances that have been named freak-offs.
And let's not forget the cultural shift that's happening right now. The rise of social media and movements like Me Too have made it harder for powerful individuals to hide their misconduct. Victims now have platforms to share their stories, and the public is far less willing to turn a blind eye. This shift has undoubtedly played a role in why these allegations are coming to light now. But it also raises questions about why it took so long. Were these stories being suppressed? Were the victims too afraid to speak out? And if so, what does that say about the culture of silence that permeates Hollywood?
There are some problems that the defense has brought up originally, but it seems like, just from reading this 14-page indictment, that there is enough physical evidence to perhaps get a conviction in this case. We shall see. These are allegations.
The timing of these revelations is also worth examining. Diddy's arrest and the subsequent investigation have opened the floodgates, with more and more people coming forward to share their experiences. It's like a domino effect, with each new accusation lending credibility to the ones that came before it. But it's also a reminder of how fragile these systems of power can be. All it takes is one person brave enough to speak out, and the whole house of cards can come tumbling down.
Let me tell you something else. Not only should he have apologized to Cassie in that video, he should have apologized to all of the general public that he lied to.
Yeah. And yet, there's still so much we don't know. For every allegation that's been made public, there are likely countless others that remain hidden. The question is, how deep does this go? Are we looking at the actions of one man, or is this part of a larger pattern of abuse and corruption within the entertainment industry? And if it is, what can be done to stop it? These are the questions that investigators and the public will need to grapple with in the coming months. One thing is clear, this story is far from over. As more details emerge, the pressure on Diddy and those around him will only continue to grow. But it's not just about holding him accountable. It's about dismantling the systems that allowed this to happen in the first place. It's about ensuring that no one, no matter how powerful, is above the law. And it's about giving a voice to the victims who have been silenced for far too long. As we wrap up this deep dive into the shocking allegations surrounding Diddy Combs and the web of Hollywood's elite, we're left with more questions than answers. How far does this alleged corruption go, and who else might be involved? Could the silence from figures like Steve Harvey and Ashton Kutcher be an indication of something more sinister? Share your thoughts in the comment below. Do you think these accusations will lead to real change, or will they be swept under the rug like so many scandals before them? Let us know what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on this unfolding story. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning. Goodbye.